Day the 13th.
Yes, indeed.
So it's a day of superstition that some historians think can be traced back to the crucifixion of Jesus. But if you think that the modern age has bypassed the mysticism of good and evil, think again.
You know, Pope Francis has called for an increase of priests capable of performing exorcisms because of vastly increased demand for them worldwide. And it turns out Idaho is not immune to the trend. Hollywood is responsible for most modern concepts of exorcisms.
The power of Christ compels you!
But reality, while much more subdued, isn't far from that.
If you are a demonic spirit, you will leave this premises right now in Jesus' name.
Jeff Mason is with Apparitions Paranormal and performs exorcisms in Idaho.
You will let go of these human spirits.
Many times we get calls because people are having activity in their homes or in their businesses.
Demonic activity?
Sometimes. We have encountered some malevolent spirits.
He says he's seen a big increase in reports of paranormal activity in Idaho, including a recent exorcism.
I bind you in Jesus' name.
We actually had the entity identify itself as a demon and informed us that it was attached to the resident of the place, one of the residents, and we did an exorcism right there.
I'm speaking to that demon.
You will answer him.
You will obey me and answer me now. You will no longer be attached. You understand?
Now, I know what you're thinking. Exorcisms, really? In this day and age? But when the world's largest organized religion embraces the practice and calls for more practitioners, this is no joke. Unfortunately, the Roman Catholic Church wouldn't talk to us about it for this story. But the Catholic Church isn't the only church to deal with reports of demonic possession. Do you believe that there can be a possession?
I would say we believe anything's possible. I've had at least 2 or 3 times in the last year, for instance, where somebody just calls and says, we think we have a demonic presence in our home.
Pastor Mike FREEMAN says the Vineyard doesn't have a set strategy for dealing with exorcisms, and he doesn't employ anything gleaned from the movie.
I vividly remember it. Only saw it once, really only needed to see it once.
I cast you out!
But he says those who dismiss the possibility of something beyond should keep an open mind.
To assume that our way of viewing reality is the way, or the only way, again, I think is to limit ourselves.
The Holy Spirit is here right now. I can feel him on me.
The demand for exorcisms is really booming in the third world, where FREEMAN says cultures are more intuitive.
Yeah, you step into the third world, it definitely is a we're not in Kansas moment.
Those who perform exorcisms say their faith compels them to help others, despite personal risk. Is that scary?
It can be. It most definitely can be. Especially if you have something thrown at you, or I've had investigations where I've had some of my investigators shoved up against walls and things like that. So yeah, it can be really scary.
Interestingly enough, the Vatican has created exorcism classes. They're held once a year that anyone can take. Anyone.
Not just priests.
Not just priests. Anyone can take to learn how to perform an exorcism.
Well, if the Pope is calling for more people to be able to do this, it would seem you need to train people.
Training is really important as well, because there is a real question about whether people have mental illness and are seeing things. And what this class does is actually make sure that people are checked out by doctors before they go for anything like an exorcism. But we're seeing an increase in requests for it across the world.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Here.
And here in Boise as well.
Interesting, Roland.